Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Anything Goes with your host, truly, Anna Rose. And I am so excited to have this conversation today. It is always one, I feel like I have this conversation, I want to say once a year, but to be honest, I feel like I've maybe only had it 2 other times in my life on this podcast, maybe more. But it is the launch of Self-Love School this week. And this will be the 9th class that I will be taking through the program. I launched Self-Love School, and that's basically the ethos of the episode is I want to have a conversation around just where it's come from, my intentions with it, who it's for, which I genuinely believe is every single woman walking on planet Earth. And obviously just give it some, the moment of the hour that it so deserves with it being in a launch week, which is the quietest, most gentle launch I have ever done. Definitely intentionally coming off the back of the craziest year of my life. I wanted to just take a group of women back through her doors as a group. So let's start there. I want to go back and tell the backstory, but basically, the story goes where Self-Love School began. Let me take you back to the origin story. So I, for 7 years, strictly was in network marketing. The only way that you could work with me at that time, so from 25 to basically 33, so what's that, almost 8 years? Yeah, was Isogenics. It was the only way that you could work with me. You could be a part of my network marketing team. And that was amazing. Wouldn't change it for the world, would not change one thing. I fundamentally believe and still say today who I am as a businesswoman is what I learned in network marketing. You couldn't outwork me, you couldn't outknow me, you couldn't out anything me, right? I just was the grittiest, hardest worker. And it showed in my results. Anyway, cut to basically when I start, so 2020, which is wild, and definitely obviously as the world, Australia, not the world, but Australia, I started to go viral around Australia and more people had found me at that time and just got to know me in the day-to-day. Yes, I was speaking up for Australia during the bullshit of COVID. By the way, I think something else is coming. I don't know, I just feel like a USA, invading Iran, there's just like, look over here. Anyway, so I did speak up for the nation during that time and people were absolutely following me specifically for that reason. But what has happened, and if you were literally still listening to this podcast today, many have come from that time, but ultimately everyone stayed for different reasons, right? I don't know your reason, but ultimately people stayed. And during 2020, as I continue to show up as who I was, which was just a woman who did speak up unapologetically, who did move every single day, no matter what, even during lockdown, who did, espout a calm positivity throughout a very uncertain, crazy time, that came from a very deep embodiment. And what started to happen during the year of 2020 was everybody started to ask me, hey, how else can I work with you? I don't want to do Isogenics, or I'm not interested in the products, or I really want to work with you, so I'll do the products if I have to, but ultimately I just want to be coached by you. And I remember I was going back to every hundreds and hundreds of DMs saying, look, I'm really sorry. I just don't have another offering. I don't ever want to work one-on-one. So that's just never going to be something that I offer in essence. And yeah, I'm kind of sorry. And the story goes, a brilliant, amazing, beautiful psychologist had contacted me and basically said, so this is off the back of like months and months and months of telling people, I'm so sorry. There's no other way to work with me essentially, unless it's Isogenics. And again, I wouldn't have changed that for the world, but a psychologist, actually, someone that I'd chatted to quite consistently in DMs throughout the course of 2020 had come to me and said, look, Anna, I really want to work with you. Like I would like, so psychologist aside, that title essentially, she was like, I just would like to really learn from you. And I said, look, I only have Isogenics. And she said, well, would you coach me one-on-one and name your price? I'm willing to pay whatever. But name your price and would you coach me one-on-one? And I said, still no. Like, I have no desire to do one-on-one. I'm going to be really honest with you. Still to this day, 5 years later, I do not have that desire. So anyway, I went away that night and at the time spoke to my ex-husband and I said, look, I need to do something. Like, I have capacity for it. I have hunger for it. I have the knowledge for it. I want to do something. Anyway, sorry, what I will say to finish that story, I went back to the psychologist and I said, look, I won't work with you, but just take what I say in my everyday and apply it. It's really not that hard. It's literally what I said to her. It's really not that hard. Just be a woman that, I literally said, moves like she loves herself, eats like she loves herself, thinks like she loves herself, speak like she loves herself. You earn like you love yourself, like clearly. Just be her and you can't go wrong. That's all I do. And she actually was like, Anna, this is brilliant. This is what I needed. Thank you so much. No worries. Thank you. And that night I went away and I spoke to Morgs and I said, there's really something in this. And I do want to offer something more to the world. And this is it. Like, I am ultimately the woman who has created the life she has created. And when anything comes along, I can step into that, which if I am passionate about it or believe in it, I don't get addicted to applause. I'm not crippled by the booze, right? All of these things in who I was at that time, there's something in that. And I just want to explore that. And he was like, go for it. I support it, of course. And I literally locked myself in my office for one whole week. Well, it was about 4 days at the time, for like 12 to 15 hours a day, 7 days in a row. And I did nothing else. I literally did nothing else. And I looked like a crazy woman with like trying to, figure out the secrets of the universe. But I ultimately brain dumped my entire life. At that time, I've been on my self-love journey since 22, 16 years. This is 5 years ago, 11 years. At that point, I had been on this self-love journey for 11 years. And I knew that that's what I was creating. I was creating something around self-love, around the ethos of who I was, and not just who I was, but how I became her. And I poured my entire brain into these pieces of paper and ultimately started to put the pieces together. So saw that there was a lot around food and nutrition. And I was like, okay, eating like you love yourself, moving like you love yourself. I'd said for 11 years at that point. So that was a non-negotiable. And little by little, practice by practice, habit by habit that I was finding in, all these pieces of paper, I put it into this curriculum that became Self-Love School. And I created it, filmed it, and launched it, or created it and filmed it in, I think it was like 10 days all up. So was sort of creating the bones of it. I obviously then hired like a website developer. I hired a graphic designer to make my workbooks pretty. I didn't do any of that because that would have taken way longer. And Self-Love School was born. That was, November-ish 2020. And I opened the doors for the very first time in December 2020. Now, at the time, it was a brand new offering. I didn't know how it's going to go. It was just a new thing. Like, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to get 5 people. Like, I've got no idea. Remember, I had spent 8 years solely and strictly building isogenics. And so I capped it at the time. Everyone always says, if you could do anything different in business, what would you do? I would never have capped Self-Love School. But I did cap it at the time. And I said, okay, I'm going to take on 100 women, the first 100 women, thinking not a fucking chance in hell I will fill that. I'm going to open her doors, I'm going to open it on a Sunday. I'll close them on a Sunday. I'll take women along the way. And we're going to go on this journey together. Anyway, cut to, at that time, it was an 8-week course because I didn't have Heal and Fuck Like You Love Yourself in it. And anyway, it sold out. So I opened it to a wait list on the Sunday with the intention that they could fill the first spots. Never, ever, ever in a trillion years thinking it would sell out, with the idea that I would then open to the public on the Monday. It never made it to the public. It sold out in the first 8 hours and it just blew my complete fucking mind. Like, I wish, actually, I'm going to send it to my amazing editor. I will send some videos so he can play it as I'm talking, just like silently as I'm speaking right now. And you can see, oh my God, the original video of like me as I coached women back as that iteration of Anna Rose, right, in 2020 to move, think, eat, speak, earn, self-care, and think like they love themselves. And anyway, it was incredible. It was the best work I'd ever done. It was the most transformation I have ever seen. Lane, it's wild. Lane, my community manager who works for me now, and she's actually been promoted to like my business development manager. She was in that very first class, right? So that was class 1. Anyway, after class 1 and it was sold out and I had such an incredible response from that, I launched it 2 more times from memory. I haven't done my numbers, but around 2 or 3 more times. Every sort of, I'd finish a class, I'd wait a couple of months. And all I know is the first, so from December 2020, so there was class 1 was December 2020. Class 2 was probably like March-ish, 2021. And then there was one more time, I'm pretty sure. And then from there, so there was a few more over 2021. And then the Awakened Woman idea had come to me. That was like late 2021, early 2022. So I had said to the world, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to basically bench self-love school because I don't want to like dilute the market. I don't want to confuse anyone. And I'm going to bench self-love school. I'm only going to open it 1 time a year now. And everything's going to go towards the Awakened Woman, which still to this day it does, because my heart and my soul and my time and my stress and my money all goes to Talk Collective, which is the sister company to the Awakened Woman. So exactly what I imagined and it is exactly how it has occurred. Then for the next couple of years, so from 2022 to 2025, so 2, 3, 4, 5, for 4 years, I then launched 1 class a year. And if you followed me for a minute, a moment, a month, a year, a decade, you will know that Self-Love School has grown into my soul's work, like fundamentally my soul's work, but it has also grown into an enormous movement. When I talk about my unicorn community, when you have ever been impacted or in a room or been shouted out in a tag and it's blown up your business, which happens every other day, like whenever I tag an incredible, worthy, deserving businesswoman because I use their service, I pay and use for their service, if I tag them, the greatest privilege and honor of my life is they say like they sell out or they book out, and then they book out consistently ongoing. That genuinely is my Self-Love School community. That is that unicorn community. It is women that know me, trust me, love me, and back me because they have learned you cannot do that to another woman. When you are squeezed, what comes out of you is who you are. So if you are not infinitely supportive of another woman, it's because you're not infinitely supportive of yourself at the end of the day. When you cannot cheer and love and respect and trust and love another woman, it's because you do not cheer and love and support and love yourself. They're just the facts. We know that, right? So when I talk about my community, yes, I have an incredible following on Instagram and you all form a part of that, but ultimately my community is my Self-Love School community. And that is my greatest legacy thus far because I get the privilege and the honor of seeing thousands of women's lives changed through that school and that program. Now, I always say, I don't change their life. Self-Love School doesn't change their life. You change your own life. I can only provide you the container. People always go, what's a container? Guys, a container is a space that you come into to learn, to grow, to be nourished, to be challenged. It's a mentorship. It's a coaching package. It's a school like Self-Love School. So I create the container with Self-Love School, but ultimately women, yourself, choose to come into it, do the work, address their shadows, their traumas, their triggers, their wounds, their habits, all of the things that are keeping them stuck, and they are alchemizing them straight into their power. They are finding their new power. They are finding their new habits, and they are completely transforming and changing their life. That is what self-love school is. Self-love school is ultimately the greatest, deepest, most savage shadow work I have ever done in my own life. And that is how I went from a complete victim of my life, to fundamentally transforming and changing it to become an empowered, abundant, successful woman that I am today. It's the shadow work. It was facing my own triggers, my own traumas. It was taking radical responsibility for my life. It was looking at my habits. It was looking at every single aspect of who I was in every single aspect of my life, identifying what it was that was holding me back in each of those areas, creating the new neural pathways through the activities and the practices that I learned myself from psychologists, from throughout my entire life, from hundreds of thousands of dollars I've spent on other coaches and other programs, and the 500 plus books that I've read over my lifetime, taking all of that and putting that into the course that is literally Self-Love School. So for me, when I meet a woman, any woman, and she is stuck in any capacity of her life and she says to me, what should I do? I'm like, Self-Love School. You start there. That is your beginning point, no matter who you are, no matter what you earn, no matter where you're at, no matter what you want to do. If something is holding you back for the price that it is, because the way that I look at it is, say you feel pretty good in other areas, which is amazing. Say you eat like you love yourself pretty well, you're earning like you love yourself okay, you are moving like you love yourself pretty well, but you're thinking like you love yourself definitely needs some work, or you're speaking like you love yourself needs some work, which they are, of course, symbiotic. To me, I'm like, well, you could buy the individual modules, absolutely, or you could just do the whole course for $777. The price of Self-Love School for what you get, and every woman that has come through her doors will say this and attest to this, is radically underpriced for what it is. But my belief is, and my hope is, and my vision and my mission is that millions of women around the world will ultimately walk through her doors. And I want to make it enough of a price so it's a stretch, so you commit, because skin is in the game, but also keeping it a price that is affordable. For some, yes, an enormous stretch for sure, but it's accessible with a coach that is accessible without it being tens of thousands of dollars, right? So that is what Self-Love School is. Now, the power of Self-Love School is obviously, as I have said multiple times on this episode, is that it is my soul's work. And so, of course, as I evolve and grow and adapt and pivot and learn and stretch and I'm challenged, things, and, I reveal my own continual traumas or triggers or wounds, things get added in. Now, I'm pretty sure that I've got them all now, I think. We'll see. Mother Like You Love Yourself will probably be the last, to be honest. We'll see. But ultimately, Heal and Fuck Like You Love Yourself was added in back in 2020. I think it was last year. It was either 2024 or 2025. I think it was 2024. But anyway, Heal and Fuck Like You Love Yourself got added into the program, the school, after I had done my own deepest, most important, most life-changing work of my own life with coaches and psychologists to identify and uncover and realize that I had wounds. We've all got traumas, but I had core wounds that was allowing me to stay stuck and trapped and magnetizing toxic men. So as I grow and develop and stretch, etc., as I've said, and I changed my own life in that way as well. So as I got out of, divorce from a marriage and then got into a narcissistic relationship and then got out of that and then healed that and then went on to magnetize and hold the king, that all went into Self-Love School. So Heal and Fuck Like You Love Yourself was added after I had done that deep work myself, done the embodiment work myself, and I'm now obviously in the relationship that we all see and know today. So this is the power of Self-Love School. Now, where it is at in its 2026 iteration is I am entering my motherhood era this year. And so 2025 was definitely the last year where it had the live coaching aspect, which is just All that was, which was absolutely incredible, no doubt about it, but it was me getting on a live for an hour a week and answering questions. So it was a supplementary call. It has nothing to do with the actual core work of Self-Love School. Self-Love School has always been and will always be exactly what is already pre-recorded and uploaded into the curriculum. So your private login area is actually where Self-Love School has always existed. The live call aspect that I had done up until 2025 was simply an amazing yes, but simply a 1 hour call that I jumped on once a week between, by the end, maybe 30 women, but about 30 at any point to 90, 100 women would jump on. And I would basically just answer any questions that they would have and there was no rules around it. Like if we were in Eat Like You Love Yourself week, you didn't have to ask about eating like you love yourself. You could basically ask me whatever was coming up for you over the course of the school. That's all that live call was. So that has been taken from it because I am going to be pregnant and mothering in the next 1 to 2 years. And I didn't want to have to put calls off if I'd had a really rough night or anything like that and feel like I was interrupting your journey in the course. But what I have done in 2026 is re-record every single video that is linked to Self-Love School. So the welcome video, and then the think, move, eat, fuck, earn, heal, speak, self-care like you love yourself. Every single video, which is between 1 hour, I think there's like one video that's 1 hour. Most of them are 90 minutes to 2 hours long. Earn Like You Love Yourself comes in at like 2 to 3 hours long. It's me like this, pre-recorded, and then I take you through a huge slideshow, and then you have an enormous workbook that you get, like you can download and work in or fill in on the computer to accompany your work. So Self-Love School has changed in that there's not the live component from me, but ultimately it has, to me, in my opinion, actually enhanced. And I was speaking to some beautiful women on retreat going, oh, I can't believe you've refilmed it. This is what we've been waiting for. It's better. It is the best iteration I've ever done because you get it as the iteration of me. I can't wait. Again, I hope that you got a kick out of seeing Anna Rose in 2020 with her fierce red hair, coaching in Self-Love School. So that is the background essentially of Self-Love School. But what I want you to know and just the significance of me opening it up again to say, okay, look, we did an evergreen all last year and it still changes lives every single day. But what I was hearing in the feedback, especially from the women that had done it, were basically like, gosh, we feel bad for the women coming in because they don't have their class. They don't have their cohort because honestly, it wasn't my live coaching that is the most impactful. Firstly, it's you consistently showing up for yourself in the logging area and actually doing the work. That is where your life transforms and changes. But they said it's the class, it's the women, it's the sisterhood that we do it with, and we all are in it together. And every week we know we're all in it together. And if I fall off the bandwagon, even though that sentence is banned in Self-Love School, there is no ever falling off any wagon. You are all always right on time. But when that occurs, women can jump in and go, hey, I need a pep talk. And there's hundreds, thousands of women that can jump in and cheer you on. So I listened to that feedback and I said, okay, well, I'm going to pivot and adapt. There still won't be me live doing the calls, but I will re-record everything. So the value is the highest it's ever been. I've redone all of the workbooks, so there's brand new stuff in there. And then ultimately I will still do an open and closed door so a class can still start together, which is exactly what's happening now. So doors opened yesterday. I'm recording this on Tuesday. It's probably going to be this will be out tomorrow, Wednesday. So there'll be Wednesday, like 4 or 5 more days to jump into Self-Love School if you so feel called. But honestly, from the bottom of my confident, unapologetic heart, if you are a woman that is not where she wants to be yet in life, in any capacity, whether it's thinking, moving, eating, healing, fucking, speaking, earning, or self-caring like you love yourself, Self-Love School is the space for you. It is. It is the curriculum for you. It is the space to land into, to face your shadows, to do the work, to identify the habits that are keeping you stuck and held back, and changing them to change yourself, to change your neural pathways, to change your life and become the woman that you were always born to be. So, if you have been on the fence, if you have done it in a past class and you feel like you need a refresher, or you feel like you would love to sit with me once a week for 1 to 2 hours live in that pre-recorded video, which is where the work has always been, I could not encourage you more to jump into Self-Love School this week, because truly, especially with what I know what's coming this year, just geopolitically, politically, financially, you are your number one asset. I have spoken down this mic for weeks and weeks and episodes on end and said, no matter what, no matter the investment or the asset class you invest in, you are your number one asset. And so you must be investing in yourself in some way. Now, it doesn't have to be Self-Love School by any means, but if you don't have something that you are not investing in for yourself right now, then I would encourage it be Self-Love School. So I will leave it there. I wanted to try and keep it somewhat short today, just to get in, explain where it comes from, explain the history. Ultimately, please know as well, if you are listening to this, you are here because you get something out of watching me every single day. You feel inspired because I'm consistent. You feel motivated because I don't stop. You feel whatever, insert your humbling reason why you follow me in whatever capacity today. When a woman asks me, and I'm on any podcast, and if you've listened to them, you'll know how I am the way that I am, or how I can keep going when life kicks me the fuck down over and over and over and over again, it is self-love. That's how. I am a woman, and I will say this, self-love to me is not pretty. Self-love is the shadow work. Self-love is looking yourself in the mirror, directly in the eye, taking radical responsibility for wherever you have been playing victim in your life, wherever you have been playing small in your life, wherever you have been sabotaging yourself in your life, and doing all of the work that I have in all of the curriculum spread out across all of the weeks that you get you ultimately get your module at the end of it. It is looking that woman in the eye and saying, enough, stake in the ground, line in the sand. I am going to do whatever I have to do within this work to become the woman that I was always born to be. That is how I am the woman that I am today, because I do that over and over and over again. I have never just done this work once. Back when I was 22, when it all began, and moving like I love myself saved my life. It didn't just change my life. And then I put it down, and that was it. I live and fucking breathe this work in my every single day. No matter what I am handed, no matter how many times I'm kicked down, stuff comes up for me all of the time. All of the time. Remember as well that I have this psychotic group of people on the internet that try to defame me every single day and are still yet to succeed. I think they're in their 6th year of stalking and harassment of me. And yet I rise, and yet I'm successful, and yet I'm wealthy, and yet I'm in love, and yet I go and I go and I go. Guess why? Because I am impervious, because I am unfuckable with, because you cannot knock me from center, because I am a woman who knows herself, who loves herself, who trusts herself, and who motherfucking backs herself. Why? Because I love myself, because I have faced my shadows, because I have faced my traumas, because I have faced every part of me where I was playing victim in my life and said, enough, I'm done, I'm taking radical responsibility and I'm moving forward. That is what Self-Love School is. It is not, one part of it is not light and love and, bubble baths and face masks. It's loving yourself bravely through your story, holding yourself in the utmost of devotion and changing your entire life in whatever capacity you need it to be changed in, whether it's eating, moving, thinking, speaking, earning, healing, fucking like you love yourself, whatever that looks like for you. So if you want an ounce of that impervious right? If you want an ounce of that indestructible, if you want an ounce of that not being addicted to applause, not being crippled by booze, if you want an ounce of just that, no matter how many times I'm going to get knocked down, I will fucking get back up and no one and nothing can stop me. And I will become a woman who knows herself, trusts herself, backs herself and loves herself. Well, then self-love school is for you. All right, I am going to leave it there. Thank you as always for tuning in. I honestly cannot thank you enough. I just feel like I'm going to do a whole podcast soon on just how grateful I am for you guys, for just being here, for listening every single week, for putting me in the top So you guys put me in the top 100 podcasts in Australia every single week. So every Monday when my episode drops, the amount of listeners that listen straight away that follow the show puts it in the top 100, which is unbelievable. Very, very humbling. Mum's episode, right? And then usually it'll drop off. It might start at like top 30 and then it'll be like top 70 and then it's like top 90 and then it's out, right? But definitely by like day 4, but day 5. Mum's episode, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, was still like top 70. You guys, I feel like that's probably going to become the highest listened to episode that I've ever done, which is such an honor and a privilege to me because it's my mum, right? And it just, to me, you guys really do care and you really are here for the journey and you really are committed to just understanding, I suppose, who I am and what I have to say, and that is a privilege that I don't take lightly. So for every single person that follows the show, that supports me more than I can say. You just literally do that by going into Spotify or Apple and clicking follow at the top of each screen, who are subscribed on YouTube, which we all know how to subscribe on YouTube, or who leave a review. You literally are why I sit on this couch every single week and record an episode for you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means the absolute world for me. If you haven't done any of those things yet, please do, because it really does help just keep growing the podcast and helping me get incredible guests on and keeping me committed that when I'm tired like I am today and I'm injecting my IVF meds like I am today and I've got to rush off to acupuncture, like all of these things, I said to Ryan, you better believe I will find that hour in the day where I come and I sit and record this episode for you. So I love you guys so much. And as always, stay wild.